Wealth, security, and opportunity are a byproduct of success. However, it often comes at the expense of deep personal satisfaction and happiness. This is the Design Your Destiny podcast, and I am your host, Penny Chason, board certified hypnotist and #1 international best-selling author. I work with the highly successful influencers, business leaders, corporate leaders who desire a life by design. In this podcast, I will bring to you succinct solo episodes and interviews that dissect the challenges of success and highlights the ways to leverage your most underutilized asset, your subconscious mind. If you desire peace and happiness in your life, better health, and stronger relationships so you can enjoy the success that you have created, keep listening because this podcast is for you. Commitment, commitment, commitment. It is the one thing that every entrepreneur and business leader must have. And I'm just going to laugh right here because I'm committed to getting this podcast done, but I keep getting interrupted. And part of it is because I'm not in my office. I'm traveling, I'm on the road, and there is a pet in this house that seems to want to, do whatever she can to be a part of the podcast. I can't tell you how many times I've started and stopped. And so if you hear a pet in the background, it's Bristol. And we can just kind of think of her as my daughter-in-law, because if I wait for her to settle down, this podcast won't get recorded. And then I won't be making my own commitments stick, right? So really what I want to dive into around commitment is because, this is talked about a lot in entrepreneur and leadership circles, and commitment is vital to the success of our businesses. It's vital to the success of our desires, whatever those pursuits look like, and whatever it is that they may be. I remember watching a podcast episode, and I mentioned this in a previous episode I did on commitment. I did a different take on it, but it was a clip of him coaching somebody, and he's like, dude, you're just not committed enough. You're not committed enough. Well, we're all committed. We are always committed to something. It's just that what we're committed to isn't the thing that we want to be committed to. So I was saying that we're all committed to something, and we may not realize that there is a benefit that we're getting. There's something that the subconscious mind is latched onto as being important that we're more committed to than the thing that we want, because making things happen requires a consistency and a commitment that's really great. No matter how good you feel, no matter how bad you feel, you show up, you're doing the thing, you're taking the steps, or, there comes a time where, we have to take care of ourselves, right? So if we get sick or something like that happens, there needs to be a way to delegate out, because we have to be committed to our health and our well-being as much as we're committed to our business. We have to be committed to our personal growth and development as much as we're committed to our business. Our business it may grow, it may succeed, but sooner or later, things are going to really get out of whack if we don't have the health to maintain what it is that we're doing, if we're not growing as a person to keep pace with what it is that we're creating. And I really love the quote. I don't know who originally said it, something to the extent of, great things come from ordinary people who do extraordinary things, right? That's what keeps the world moving. As entrepreneurs, as business leaders, we're not in stagnation. We're creative. We're looking for solutions. And there are a lot of things that go into a business. But it really irritated me when I saw this coach tell this person, dude, you're just not committed enough. Because what that does for some people, not for everyone, but for some people, you can have someone that, is really dedicated to growing something, to creating something. And a comment like that can shoot somebody down. And we can actually do harm because now maybe this person begins to think, you know what, maybe I'm not cut out for entrepreneurship. If I'm not committed enough, maybe there is a problem here. And the problem is me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this dream is too big. Maybe I should settle. Because here's what I'll tell you, as we grow and as we evolve, things get freaking uncomfortable. And our brain is biologically wired to stay in our comfort zone. That's what it wants to do. And it is committed to staying comfortable until you teach yourself, you train your brain that being uncomfortable is safe. Being outside your comfort zone is safe because, in the most primitive sense, our brain doesn't know the difference between going live on Facebook or getting on a stage and speaking and a lion chasing you through the fields. Okay. It doesn't know the difference. It equates fear and it can activate fight or flight for any of those. So, what we have to do is condition the brain to recognize that these things outside of our comfort zone, like speaking on stage, like going live on Facebook, the first sales pitch that you ever made, we have to condition our brain that this is actually safe. That if someone doesn't like us or someone doesn't agree with us, it's not the end of the world. Consciously, analytically, we know this. Yet sometimes, for some reason, in some aspects, we hold back. And so when we say, oh, well, you're just not committed enough, well, then this person begins to internalize this. And while the intent may be good, the intent might be to turn up the heat, to increase that level of commitment, right? To build stronger habits, which that might actually be the issue. Maybe the person needs to build stronger habits, but I think we really do not give enough importance to the level that the subconscious mind truly runs our show. Because all of our actions that we take, they are framed in the past, whether we like it or not. So if you're experiencing commitment issues in your business, suddenly this is showing up where you're like, I'm not as committed as I used to be. Like, I'm taking my foot off the gas. I don't know why. I'm not as consistent as I was. It's time to take a deeper look and to see what is going on behind the scenes. It could be a lack of clarity in thinking. It could be a lack of clarity around where it is that you're going. It could be a misalignment. And this is what I see so many times with the entrepreneurs that I work with, is that there is a misalignment of desires, a misalignment of goals, a misalignment of habits, a misalignment of beliefs, right? A misalignment of character, a misalignment of values, right? And when I talk about a misalignment of values, I wish I could think of the name of the book right now. It's not coming to me. There's a book about values. And, it's really great, but it doesn't help you get to those values at a subconscious level, because you may think that you value what you value, and you might actually value what you think that you value, but there could be something else that you value much more deeply. Or you could have a story, an experience that is tied to that value that is limiting your ability to see beyond that. So let me give you an example. Last month, I did the Aligned Identity Workshop. And by the way, when you get to the show notes of this episode, I'm running this workshop again the 1st of January. It was so just unbelievably powerful. The last time I ran it, people were getting so many shifts and insights and realizations. It was unbelievable. But we'll have the link in the show notes because we're going to be running this workshop again the first week of January. But an example is the value of freedom. A lot of people become entrepreneurs because they value freedom, freedom of time, financial freedom, location freedom, right? It can look like a lot of different things. However, people become an entrepreneur wanting this freedom, but the very value of freedom actually becomes a hurdle to the success that they want. And it's because of what they have decided that freedom means, right? So, on a conscious level, they're thinking financial independence, they're thinking time independence, they're thinking location independence. But on a subconscious level, freedom means something altogether different. And I'm not going to give you the answer on this episode because I want you in the workshop, because the workshop will take you so much deeper than I can take you in this episode. But when I told you that we're committed to something, you can be committed to success in your business, but if your value is freedom and you have a completely different meaning placed on freedom subconsciously than what you consciously know that it means for you, yeah, you're going to be more committed to freedom than you're going to be committed to success, even though the freedom will give you, the success will give you the very freedom that you desire. So the subconscious mind can loop things together in such a way that it's almost like watching an episode of the Three Stooges sometimes. Not always, but sometimes when I work with clients and we're using a conversational approach to unravel the subconscious, it's like some of those Larry, Moe, and Curly moments, right? It's like, are you kidding me? How did I not see this? Well, you couldn't see it because your subconscious was caught up in a loop. And in the Aligned Identity Workshop, what I do is I give you a framework to highlight your blind spots for yourself, your blind spots in your thinking, your blind spots in your beliefs, your blind spots in your values. And if you're having issues around commitment, if you're having issues around procrastination, if you find yourself going through repeating cycles and you're not understanding why, then you really want to be a part of this workshop, because there is one thing that all of these things have in common. And that one thing is the subconscious perceptions, which is where our thoughts come from. It's the meaning that we're putting on different things subconsciously that drive our behaviors. And that subconscious meaning basically is the subconscious thoughts that you're not even aware that you're thinking. It's the stuff that happens underneath the surface. So I would love to have you in the Aligned Identity Workshop. It is going to be, I believe, we are going to kick off on January 3rd, January 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. It will be 30 minutes each day. I'll leave myself available for questions for an additional half hour, so up to an hour. There will be replays available for a limited time. So if you're in a leadership role, if you have a team, if you're going through your own growth, you want to be in this workshop, because as we shift, evolve, and grow, as our team members' roles shift, evolve, and grow, our values change, our identity characteristics can change, what these things mean can change, and they get out of alignment, right? And then it impacts everything in your business. So you want to be there, or you want to catch the replays, use the link in the show notes, sign up. I would love to see you there. because this is positively going to change the way that you think about the way that you think, the way that you think about the way that you commit, the way that you think about what's going on with your team, the way that you think about how your business is aligning with where you are. Because when our business is out of alignment with us, it's hard to even want to show up, right? I know people who've gotten to a point in their businesses where they're either sold them or they decided to just burn it all to the ground and reinvent themselves and start over, because it's so much easier when we're in alignment. So I hope to see you there. I hope that you got something that you can really appreciate out of this episode. The neighbors upstairs are yelling. I don't know if you can hear that. It's an excited yell. But yeah, this has been an interesting episode, not being in my home office, but I was committed to getting it out here to you. So let me know, leave a comment. I would love to know what you thought about this episode, your thoughts on commitment. And by all means, if you got the link to the podcast in an email, you can always hit reply. Let me know what is on your mind, because this podcast is not here for me. It's for you, and it's to serve you. So just let me know what's on your mind. I'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening to this episode of Design Your Destiny. I would love to know what resonated most with you. So just take a screenshot of this episode, share it over on your Instagram stories, and tag me at penny.chason and let me know what you thought. Also, if you head over to iTunes and you leave a positive review, it helps this podcast to help reach even more people, making a difference, elevating humanity and mankind.